It depends on what it is, because I can definitely see where, like in a podcast, I could definitely see where you want that in the social media sense, because that's definitely going to be driving up. Because TikTok, any of those, right? They love negative, man. In fact, I had one I did on TikTok that got like 500,000 views, like one of the first videos I did, and a lot of it was people just trashing me. It was Kiwis, but it made no sense
I think
because
that
they're
was the one
really
about the
angry.
mansion. Was that the one about the person living in the mansion? I saw one that you had massive numbers on. The person was living in the mansion as opposed to somebody else living in the house. And I was like,
Oh,
that's amazing.
the governor's
numbers.
the governor's mansion. No, this one was about. It was just a simple story, and I was talking about when we first moved to New Zealand, and we're really watching our money, and my wife was having a difficult time, and I wanted to make something really American. Just want to make something cheap, so I go and I just make some spaghetti and some just pasta. Right, that's all I was gonna make. Really simple, maybe a little Parmesan on the top, whatever it might be. So, because like I say, we're really watching money when we first got here, because I was struggling to find a job in television because it's a very small market. And so I was telling the story on TikTok, and I don't know what they call it there in Poland or back in Ireland, but I ended up going and getting basically I got pasta, just your spaghetti, and I got a can that said right on there tomato sauce, and I didn't know that tomato sauce was ketchup. But I discovered in New Zealand that if it says tomato sauce, that's not what you put on spaghetti. That's what you put in little blurps onto a hamburger. That's ketchup. And so basically I made spaghetti with ketchup. It was tangy. Ooh, she was real tangy. I still ate it. I still ate it. My wife didn't touch it. She didn't eat it at all. I just told that story, and for some reason, some folks in New Zealand, not many, but a couple of folks, thought I was making fun of the culture because they said it different than I did. And I wasn't. And like you said, I had people that came on and defended this. That's not what he's saying. But I had so many of these people who are saying, oh, he's making fun of us because we call something different. And I ended up getting, like you said, 500,000 views on this. And it was a stupid story about me being an idiot. But so I can definitely see in some instances, like in an environment like that, take shots, have at it. And, people going back and forth and flaming each other. And it was actually kind of fun. It does get a little vile after a while. When it comes to the writing side of it, though, when it comes to like the Facebook posts and stuff like that, I really keep a positive attitude. I think in part because for as fun as the books that I have are, they are quite, I wouldn't say warm, but it is ultimately a monster book in some ways. It's not really, but it's basically, like I said, it's about this dude who turns into a werewolf and sometimes dogs. But in this story, there is a positive sort of feel to it. And it's a bit of a promise that I make to my readers. There's so much negativity in the world. I promise you in some way the good guys will always win. Maybe not perfectly, but in the end of the story, the good guys will win. It's a bit of maybe an unspoken promise in the stories I write. I want people to sit down and read my stories, and I want them to kind of be able to escape into there and know things are going to work out. And I had an amazing example of that here about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I had this beautiful email from this woman who said her father was really sick at the time and things weren't going well at work. And she was just sending me a thank you note, if you can believe it. She was sending me a thank you note. She said, but I knew I could come home at night. And for a couple hours a night, I had Kane and Imelda to hang out with. And I was just in their world. And I knew things would work out for as hard as things were. And she said, I got to the end of it. And she said, I had to write you and say that you were that little island, in a very difficult day. I'm going to get emotional even thinking about it, but she said, you were just that island, and what you wrote, that story was this island for about an hour or two each night that I knew I could go to. Man, Roy, what a gift that is. I mean, she felt that was a gift to her. Good Lord, what a gift to me that to think that I could provide that for somebody. There's nothing better than the world. That's the greatest sort of connection in the world that I could give somebody I will never meet. And I hope that there are other stories like that. And so that's what I have to provide, I guess, with my writing space. And so when it comes to negative comments on any of those sort of Facebook posts or social, when it comes to the writing side, I kind of make that a bit of a safe space for people. And well, if they want to take shots at me, that's fine. But I have noticed when somebody does, if on the very rare occasions, and I can count the number of times in years on one hand, on the rare instances where somebody would say something negative, that other people would come and defend, and then it gets into a bit of a flame war, and I just don't want that environment. So I try to keep it very positive on those posts.